It's official, the Reserve Bank have raised the rates by 0.5%. Today, we're going to look at exactly what this means for you, why they are doing this, and more importantly, what's likely to happen with your bank. Firstly, why is the Reserve Bank increasing the cash rate? Well, the Reserve Bank look at a number of factors, including inflation, and their goal at the moment is for inflation to be closer to the 2 or 3% mark, and at the moment, we're well and truly over that, over the 6% mark. So the Reserve Bank will increase a rate to keep this under control and to get this back down to the 2 or 3% mark. Employment, and if employment rate gets too high, that's another measure and another reason why the Reserve Bank may increase or decrease the rates. At the moment, that's not an issue. And economic growth, that's if there needs to be stimulus. So we saw that in 2020 when there was lockdowns, the Reserve Bank looked to reduce the rates to increase the stimulus that's available. At the moment, we've seen that 0.5%, and with the average loan here in New South Wales being around that 760, in Victoria being about $630,000, and in Queensland being $530,000, we're going to take a look at what that means to your back pocket. So starting off with New South Wales, we can see that if you're on a 30-year mortgage at $760,000, that with a 0.5% increase on a 3.25% interest rate, it would mean roughly $212 in additional repayments each month. Now, if you're on a fixed rate, that's not going to be a problem. With fixed rates, you're going to be locked in until the term is over, but keep in mind that when you revert to a variable product, that the increased interest rates will take effect at that point in. Now, in Victoria, it's much the same, where we can see that on a $640,000 loan on 30 years with that 0.5% increase, that it's roughly $178 per month. And finally, in Queensland, on a $530,000 loan over 30 years with that 0.5% increase, it's roughly $148. Now, what you're probably wondering at this point is what's likely to happen to the banks, and will my bank increase my rate? And just because the Reserve Bank have increased their cash rate, it doesn't necessarily mean the banks will pass on that full amount. Well, let's take a look at what happened previously. Now, previously we can see, and previously in the July meeting, the Reserve Bank had increased their cash rate by 0.5%. And we can see that all major banks increased it by the same amount. And you can see here that ANZ increased their rates by 50 basis points or 0.5%. CommBank did the same, NAB followed suit, and Westpac also. And we saw the majority of banks following suit. And if history is any predictor, it's likely that your bank will also pass on the full 0.5% increase that we saw today. But for those that are a little bit worried about rates getting out of control, there is good news. We can see here that the market expectations are changing. And a lot of this is driven by inflation. And we're expecting this to peak December this year. The moment inflation peaks will be the best news for mortgage holders, because essentially means that right now with the Reserve Bank's three key items, that being inflation, employment, and economic growth, the one that they don't have under control is inflation. So the moment that peaks, it'll put a lot of pressure off the Reserve Bank to continue increasing rates, and it'll allow them to have a different outlook on what's going to happen. And that's what the market is expecting. We can see a big change in where the expected rates are to go. And this is all in the space of a couple months. So you can see that the predictions on the 14th of June are much different to what we're seeing from the 29th of July. So it means that there's some hope in the future where we're expecting rates to go, and likely we'd expect them to start to decrease. And we've already seen predictions from CommBank, ANZ, and Westpac, and they're expecting rates to decrease by mid-next year. So watch this space. And here at Hunter Galloway, we get home loans approved. So if you live in Australia and looking for a great mortgage broker, we can help. We service across Australia and don't charge a fee. So reach out and visit us online at huntergalloway.com.au or call us on 1300 088 065. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you then.